Hello everyone, I'm Kibin Alleyne and today is Tuesday, January 9th. You are now watching Open, a program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to you. Don't forget to stay connected with us via social media at BronxNet TV. The Bronx-based nonprofit Oyate Group created the Community Capital Program to dismantle systemic barriers facing Black, Indigenous, and POC entrepreneurs. As a result of the program, 3 BIPOC women received between $10,000 to $50,000 in capital funding for their entrepreneurial ventures. Let's take a look at this clip that gives us more detail about the program.
Oyate Group presents the Community Capital Entrepreneurship Program.
Welcome to Oyate Group's Community Capital Program.
6 local entrepreneurs chosen as finalists from over 100 applicants will now pitch their innovative ideas to the Oyate Group investors.
The thing we would like to bring with our application to the world is time.
Who will tell your children's story if you won't share it, you won't write it, or do it?
Everything is based around my background in physical therapy.
Our mission is to close the gap that exists between health, wealth, and life expectancy.
We're elevating our nursing profession and creating new career pathways.
The type of travel that is not just accessible, but that it's also sustainable.
And compete for a chance to win a $50,000 investment in their businesses. Mentorship from knowledgeable and successful business owners, and many other resources.
What is the priority if you received that $50,000?
You showed the app. Is that built yet, or is that a future vision?
And how much of your company you own.
Today we are joined by one of the entrepreneurs, Maurelhena Walles, the founder and CEO of Equity Design, to discuss the program. I want to thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Now, how did you find out about the Community Capital Program, and what actually inspired you to actually, take that step and actually join?
Well, the way I found out about the Community Capital Program was through actually another entrepreneurship program, and so I'm a part of their group. And so when I saw the application, it was a little intimidating, but I decided to apply because I was inspired by the opportunity to have mentorships and the training program, as well as the capital to grow my business.
Now, I want to say congratulations because you are part of 3 women who emerged as the winners in the competition. You claiming first prize, which is, that's just amazing. You win $50,000 towards your program. Can you just talk about, the significance of that?
The significance of winning that is huge. We're looking to actually grow Equity Design in 2 areas. So the capital will be used in one way to grow our programming so that we can help other programs and schools in the Bronx increase their capacity. The other way that we're looking at it is to increase our revenue. So we're looking at bringing on somebody that will help us look for sponsorships and other opportunities to grow our capacity.
Now, can you just talk about your experience being part of the competition? What did you actually have to do to win this prize?
Well, to be a part of the competition, it was intimidating. One of the things that we had to do was apply. So it was a general application. From there, we moved on to the semifinals where they chose the top 25 social entrepreneurs. We had to do a 3-minute pitch video. My team knows that I don't like being in front of camera. And so I was excited to know that I was one of the top finalists. From there, they made it very clear that it was going to be a Shark Tank style. So there were a lot of lights, cameras, and judges.
Now, what was that experience like? Because when I hear Shark Tank, I think, it's probably very intimidating, and it's just like when we hear about competitions, there's a lot that goes into it. So, what did you feel like kind of being a part of that, and how does it feel to kind of come out victorious?
So to the feeling of actually being on the Shark Tank style, it was, like I said, it was intimidating because as soon as you entered, you have this script in hand and you're trying to remember everything, but then you're seeing these all eyes on you, and they were very, very serious and focused. But needless to say, I still can't believe that I am the winner, so I'm still processing that.
That's amazing, and again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, speaking about Equity Design, what inspired you to actually start that organization? And you kind of talked about the mission a little bit, but can you expand on, what the mission is and how it helps underserved communities?
So the mission of equity design is to be able to close the gap that exists between health, wealth, and life expectancy. And the way we do that is we design programs that the community wants. So not so much about what we think it may need, but what they want and how they will be able to sustain it. And so prior to equity design, I'm not a chemist, but I really thought that I had the formula right in terms of impact, but I didn't. A lot of times youth development sports organizations, they focus on more so reach as opposed to the actual impact in changing the disparities that exist. So I hope I have the formula right by putting communities first.
And what inspired you to actually kind of take on that step and create this organization?
What inspired me was that I wanted to be able to make sure that our health disparities were being changed and looked at, and that all of the physical activity programs that were designed with putting the community first, as opposed to assuming to what the community wants. So in other words, we design programs that will help decrease blood pressure, programs that would increase physical activity engagement among our youth. So again, it's really looking at the inspiring others to create communities through physical activity programming.
Now, you mentioned that, this isn't the first program that you've been a part of, and you actually learned about it through another program. So, can you just elaborate on what makes the Community Capital program unique compared to maybe some other programs that you've been a part of?
So what makes the Community Capital unique? I actually have to go back. So when I initially applied, what inspired me to apply was really looking at the mentorship. Equity design is at a great stage in our business where I am here to say I don't have all the answers. And so the mentorship plus the money was what really inspired me to look at this and think about how I want to position equity design in the future.
Now, talking about the money, which is a big part of it, $50,000, that is very, that's very, it could change so much about an organization. Could you just talk about, a little bit of how that money will be used? If you have, a layout or a plan for that. I mean, you don't have to go into specific detail, but, just ways that you hope the money can impact the work that you're doing.
So the money will be used in two areas. One area would be to generate revenue for equity design so that we're able to grow and sustain that growth. The other area would be around program design to be able to help other organizations and schools that we work with increase their capacity. So increase our revenue, increase the capacity of our programs and communities we serve.
And I want to talk about the mentorship because I think that's very important. A lot of organizations or programs offer money, but sometimes people don't know what to do with it, and it can be overwhelming. So can you talk about the importance of, having mentorship and, how has it impacted the work that you do?
So the importance of mentorship is one, so I have an athletic background. And so I'm used to a coach, I'm used to others saying, to be able to help me literally get to the finish line. So this is how I thought of the mentorship with the Community Capital program. Equity design is growing, but I was at a standstill and really stuck and trying to figure out how that growth looks. So being able to reach out and to have individuals like Tomas really mentor me on the next step around how equity design can help the communities, especially Bronx communities with high health disparities.
Now, that kind of leads me to talk about BIPOC and just how, these programs and this funding is specifically, for Black, Indigenous people of color. Can you talk about the importance of having programs like that focus on these communities?
It's so important because the basis of equity design is about serving BIPOC communities. And so as a BIPOC leader, it's important to be able to make sure that I'm surrounding myself with a tribe that understands what that would look like and how I can have the most impact. It's really difficult as a woman of color to be able to, and a woman inside a space that is predominantly male in this fitness space, to think about how I can mold my organization to be able to serve entire communities. So finding the community capital is really where I feel we need to be.
Now, looking ahead, what is the long-term vision for equity design? And I know that could be very loaded, or it just feels like, oh my gosh,
Not at
looking
all.
looking that far into the future. But what is the long-term, just goals and the long-term vision for equity design?
So that's a great question because I'm a big picture person. So when I started it, I actually designed it backwards. So long term, we want to be able to look at other communities within the United States that have high health disparities and low physical activity engagement and do the model that we're doing right here in the Bronx in those same communities. So I'm always about the big picture long term.
And then can you just talk about the importance of having people from the community helping those within the community? Because I think sometimes people from marginalized communities, we're probably used to getting help from people outside of the community or relying on people outside of the community. So could you talk about why that was important to you as well?
So the reason why it was important to be able to ensure that as a leader, I'm representative of the community is because part of our core values is putting communities first. We do not engage in any type of physical activity program or design the program without having the community's input. We just take it and we're a vessel and say, if this is what you want, let us help you get there, and then we'll help you sustain it. So having me there helps them, in other words, the community that we serve, feel comfortable because I understand what the community may need.
Now, could you quickly just give us any advice that you would give to aspiring BIPOC women, entrepreneurs who may be facing systemic barriers? What advice would you give to them?
The best advice I would give is to find your tribe. And so find those that are your cheerleaders, find those that are your support individuals, find those that are honest to be able to say, you can do this, because you're going to face disparities without a doubt. But being able to, when I face those disparities, I call my tribe and immediately feel uplifted. I take a moment to pause and process, but finding your tribe is the biggest advice that I can give to any and all entrepreneurs of the BIPOC community.
Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us and having this conversation. And again, congratulations.
Thank you.
If you would like to learn more about the Community Capital Program, please go to the website www.oyategroup.org. And if you would like to learn more about equity design, please go to their website at www.equitydesignинc.com. Stay tuned, we have more open for you right after this.